I'll remind people. Hello, folks. So we're going to have, this is a general Region 6 meeting, but we're also going to have some voting here. So remember, only the voting members, the XCOM members, can vote when we do that kind of stuff. You're going to get 2 votes. I don't think it's going to be a big deal, but I just want to mention that here. Okay, so welcome. We're glad to have everybody here, and I think we're going to have a very good year. I've been waiting in the wings here, watching Mike and the other directors working on stuff, and thanks for the opportunity to be able to help to serve you the next couple years as a director of Region 6. Region 6 is a pretty cool place, and I think that we've got a lot of opportunity to do some great and innovative things here. And that's kind of the theme here. It's saying let's see what all interesting ideas we can have here. Let's give them fertilizer and growth, and let's see if we can make some interesting things blossom forth from an IEEE Region 6. And even as an example, to sort of lead the way with a lot of other regions, there's a lot of innovation that happens in this area. There's a lot of great companies, a lot of great things that happen in this region, and I think we should try to leverage that to see what we could do to help the world in general and to meet the goal of IEEE, which is basically for the betterment of humanity. So that's our theme, letting 1,000 flowers bloom. Outline here. First, we'll talk a bit about some Region 6 objectives. A little bit of IEEE and Region 6 stuff. There's a lot of sort of boilerplate things that if you come to a lot of these meetings, you'll see some of that. But I have a few other things in there, too, that I think we need to pay attention to. We'll talk a bit about Region 6 resources. Pursuing the visions of engineering. In particular, I was wanting to show some of the interesting things that we're in the members of geographical activities. That's what they call this regional geographic stuff. But there's a whole bunch of other parts of IEEE, and there's some very interesting things that are going on there. And I think we need to think about IEEE as one entity, as one IEEE, and we're all a member of it. And all these different parts would benefit us to know what's going on and to leverage those. And then finally, some particular on IEEE Region 6 plans. So we're basically following the agenda, which I think folks got sent out earlier. So we're going to do, let's see, I'm going to do this thing here, and then we'll, and I don't think we need to find out who's here because you all registered at the desk. So we're not going to do that part. But we will, this evening, when you get together with Region 6, I'm going to have everybody Region 4 and Region 6 together. I'm going to have everybody, Bob Perro, who's the Region 4 director, and we'd like everyone to introduce themselves so that all the people in the 2 regions can meet each other. And also all our visitors from IEEE as well. We'll do first the introductions, the ideas here, then we'll show you the budget that we've got and some of our plans on that, and then we can decide what we want to do on that. If we're okay with the budget, we have things to add to it. So that's what we're doing here first. So let's go on and talk about some objectives for 2015. First of all, respect and enable the volunteer. We need to create tools and propagate practices that allow professional volunteers to work effectively and efficiently to create chunks of projects that can be done by people who have other things going on in their lives. And so we need the tools to be able to create that. So we actually have some of this training stuff in the next day or 2, which are going to get into that. Particularly Karen over there is going to be doing a project management tutorial in the next couple of days. We want to enhance membership and improve our retention. In the Regions 1 through 6 in particular, we've been losing members every year. Is there something we can do about that? Let's talk about that. Enhance our online experience. We're supposed to be, technical society, we're supposed to be at the top of all the things that are going on here. And we can be. And part of that is going to be our own online tools, like our region website, our section websites, area websites, all those things, but also using all the other social media and other tools, and even our Camtasia recording and stuff. We'll see more about that. Create active alliances with industries and with venture capitalists and with other people who are involved in creating wealth. Okay? We need to be involved in that stuff. We might even get some wealth out of it, but at least we want to be involved in finding out about it and connecting with those people because they can help us to get things done, and we can help them to accomplish their goals because it's engineers that create the things that generate wealth and value. We want to create active alliances with academia. Can we do any things about myself? I've got one of my boys that's in college now. You've heard me say this many times. The other one's going to be in college later this year, and I have no clue how I'm going to pay for all this. So I would love to see us, even if I can't do it for my kids, so that our future generations, that we can keep on generating engineers, the people that can solve the world's problems. That's what we are. We learn skills about problem solving, about troubleshooting, about making things happen. We need more of those kind of people, and we need to work with academia to develop that. Create active alliances with technically oriented cultural groups and with the pre-college, the STEM stuff. I'm thinking like science fiction conventions. I'm planning on going to at least one or two science fiction conventions this year, because that is a culture which inspired many of us to do the things we do. I'm an old science fiction fan. I grew up with Isaac Asimov, Robert Heinlein, Silverberg, all these people, right?
But in reality, it's not science fiction. It's reality.
It's predictive. It's
reality. We make things become real, right?
That's exactly right. It's the inspiration that I wanted to do the things that I used to read about.
So as engineers, what we do is we make that science fiction become reality.
Exactly. Okay. And I want to recognize and celebrate our history. I want to have objectives to recognize all the fantastic engineering milestones, all the interesting innovations and developments that have gone on in Region 6, and to celebrate those things. And then we want to make Region 6 cool. We want to be creative. And I'll show you some things that have been going on IEEE overall. We can do some of these things here too, I think. So let's talk about IEEE in Region 6. Now, this is not in Region 6 as pictured, but there are roughly 6 pillars that you can see there. So here's the basic IEEE organization, and IEEE is a mini-pronged, or sort of an octopus-type animal. It has a lot of limbs, and it's got board of directors, you've got publications. Does laser pointer work? I can't see it anyway.
It is.
You got IEEE USA. We're all part of IEEE USA, which is regions 1 through 6. You've got the Standards Association. You've got members of geographic activities. Lower, someone has a laser pointer. There you go. Thank you. Technical activities, just to the right of it. That's where all the societies and a lot of these technical groups are. And underneath that, societies, technical councils. Under member geographic activities, you've got regions and sections. And there's also there's educational activity. Yeah, educational activities is up there. There's a whole, IEEE has many different groups. And unfortunately, they tend to be silos because they talk to each other. One of the big things we need to do is we need to get communications going between and among all these different pieces of IEEE. Because together, we can do great things. Separately, we can't do as many great things. Okay, IEEE, regions, there's 10 regions overall, more than 300 sections, 1,450 student branches, 38 societies, 7 councils, plus a growing number of networks and communities. And I think some are around 425,000 members. The numbers creep around a little bit depending on when they count them. And so there's regions 1 through 6 in the U.S., and there's the other regions down there all over the world. But we are in Region 6. And Region 6 goes all the way from the plains of Montana down into the deserts of New Mexico, all the way out to the tropical pleasures of Hawaii. Is John here? And up into the frigid Arctic wastelands, of Alaska. No, the tundra, the pleasant tundra of Alaska. The fishing and hunting is good, yes. So it's a big area, and there's a lot of wet spots here. But we've got an enormous amount of variations. We've got variations in the climates and in the peoples, the things that they do. And it's a really fantastic region. I'm hoping, as director, to get a chance to interact with as many of these groups as possible. And I hope that other people in our regions can interact with each other as well. So some of the things I'm going to try to do this weekend, I think, maybe will get us to do more of that. Now, here's the sad stuff. Not everybody is having as much fun as we are. Okay, and our membership keeps declining. It's been declining. This is Region 6 higher grade members from 2000 to 2014. There's a nice spot right here, 2002, but ever since, it's been going down.
Tom?
Yes.
Why don't you take this? Save you walking around as much.
And tripping on things.
There you go.
Thank you. Is that a red one?
It is.
That won't do me any good.
Oh, sorry.
I can't see it.
I'll point.
So this is a problem. Now, so we're currently at about 46,000 members in Region 6, again, depending on when you do the count. Now, here's the student members over the years, the same period. It's a smaller number, but it's kind of interesting. This one is, weight goes up and down. It just go down, which is not quite as discouraging. If we could just do something, for instance, about students, to get more of them to continue to become IEEE members, or IEEE student members to become IEEE members and stay IEEE members, that would do an awful lot to stabilize that declining trend. So those are things I think we need to look at. Let's look again at some more statistics here. This is small print. This is comparing 2014 December, 2013 December on the different categories there of IEEE members. And I'm not going to stay with this. The total there is we're down 2.6% year over year, change about 1,446 members total. Okay, so but we've been doing that again and again. If you do that often enough, there's no members, right? So we got to do something about this. So can we reverse this trend? What can we do to stem the decline of IEEE members in Region 6 or in all the other regions where we're declining in members? Is there an opportunity to retain more student members? Because it looks like there, at least, we've got some enthusiasm. And what are the issues that are causing people to drop their memberships? I think we need to get a better understanding of these things. We need to create value in IEEE membership because our members are the source of all of our strength. They're the source of every piece of money that the IEEE gets in, because if you didn't have people doing all this stuff, writing the papers, running the conferences, reviewing the papers, doing the publications, doing the stuff we're doing here as volunteers, nothing else would happen. They would have nothing. It's by getting more members, a certain percentage of those members will become volunteers. Those volunteers and the people that do things and donate it are the very basis of value in the IEEE. If we lose members, continue to lose members, we're losing the wealth, we're losing the value of the IEEE. We need to do something about that. Some more, more statistics. Sorry, this is small. Region 6, this is the sections. But the interesting thing here is we got we got this great variety of different geographic areas. Also got a great variety of different sizes of sections, all the way down to 16 there at Alamogordo, Holloman. Okay, up to I think it's 12 or just about 12,000 in Santa Clara Valley, and San Diego here is 4,000 or something. San Diego is 4,382. So we've got a whole bunch of different size sections just in this region here. They have somewhat different interests, somewhat different capabilities of what they're able to do. What can we do to enable each one of these sections to accomplish everything that they might want to accomplish, to create value for their members in their area, and therefore to enhance the value of IEEE and to inspire people to volunteer and continue to generate the value which is in the IEEE and the things we do together. Another eye chart. This one's even worse. That's because we've got so many societies. You will get access to all this stuff. We'll put this online. And by the way, we're trying the Camtasia recording on this too. So PowerPoint and the talk. So if that works out, we'll have. It's still pretty small. Well, the bottom line is we've got a lot of societies here, probably all of them. 37, yeah, and we've got members somewhere in Region 6 for everything. So again, we've got a great variety of things here. Let's see, here's some more statistics. This is this is the end of, this is showing all the regions. Yeah.
This is end of year 2014.
Yes, this is like just comparing us to the other regions. So you can see here that let's see, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. These are all the U.S. ones, and these are the ones the international ones.
The red is more than 1%.
He's the former membership guy. So go ahead, Ed.
Anything in red is there's a more than a 1% decline. Anything in yellow is between 0 plus or minus 1%, and green is more than green is a positive of more than 1%.
But all of these numbers, which are the summary, are negative numbers. Everyone in regions 1 through 6 are declining.
And notice this last year was very interesting because it was the first time we'd actually seen outside the U.S. regions had a negative.
They have negative here. Everything except for regions.
So while there's a U.S. problem, there's also some stuff going on globally.
So we have a challenge here. How can we create value in the IEEE that people feel that the money they pay, the time they put into it is worth it? Okay, some important links. There's a member loyalty program recognizing members for their years of service. They've got a pin. I keep forgetting. I always forget to bring pins and things like that with me, so I don't have one. You got one?
I do. I found it outside. It's a 5-year membership. Somebody dropped it.
Oh, if somebody's missing a 5-year membership pin, we got it. Is it yours? You're losing pieces of yourself.
I never got any of it.
You could get them though if you haven't got it. They have those.
Your section gets the membership pins. They have to order them.
So go bother. Is Joe here? Joe Wee? Joseph Wee? Okay, he needs a membership pin. It's Jeff Paulin.
The individual sections order?
Is that how we do it?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, the sections have to order them.
So learn more at www.ieee.org/loyalty, and I presume that there is an order form there. IEEE people?
Chris Wright is here.
Chris, thank you.
Talking about this tomorrow? Yes.
Okay.
In the membership talk tomorrow, you'll find out more about
You'll
it.
find more about this tomorrow. Yes. In fact, maybe a membership order, maybe an order form, Chris? Maybe? Okay.
Online.
Uh,
We'll find out tomorrow.
yes. That's it. Yes.
Can't leave town.
Indeed. We'll give as many teasers out for as many sessions as we can here. Geographic Unit Facts, you can find out more about that. There's another link here which you can't read. And then there's the IEEE Resume Lab, an online service that allows IEEE members to develop a resume or curriculum vitae, which is like a resume, using a wide variety, except it's Latin, a wide variety of resume templates with IEEE.org membership / another URL. So they're trying to create resources in the IEEE that can be of value to members, and also recognize years of service. And so that's what these are about. Deadlines. There's a call for fellows nomination. Let's see, which is March 1st, 2015. MGA. This is some of the boilerplate stuff. MGA award deadlines: May 15, 2015. MGA Outstanding Large, Medium, and Small Section Awards. So that may be of interest to those of you out there who are doing the award stuff.
Did you make note?
No? Okay.
Jody here is a new fellow.
Oh yeah, Joe's a fellow. Let's congratulate Joe.
Oh, Joe.
He's a jolly good fellow.
Talk to you later if you want to understand how you can do it yourself.
And Joe will buy you a beer.
Right.
Okay.
No, you buy Joe a beer, then he tells you.
Oh, okay. That's right. I'm sorry. That's how it went. October 15, 2015, they got a bunch of awards here, MGA awards, the Larry K. Wilson Transnational Award, an Innovation Award, Leadership Award, Achievement Award, and Young Professionals Achievement Award. So those are a little further off. And anytime a friend of IEEE MGA, and I assume that tomorrow they can find out more about what that is.
Sure. I've been altering membership development training for tomorrow as I talk to people.
Indeed.
It's a topic you want to talk about.
Another request. What is that? Okay.
Tom,
Yes.
one other deadline is the foundations accepts grant proposals he wants.
Oh, that's an important one. So a lot of us have not been using the IEEE Foundation, but the IEEE has a nonprofit thing that people can make donations to called the Foundations, the IEEE Foundation. And when is it? August? August 1st?
I don't remember.
Sometime in August is the deadline for for foundation proposals? Okay, because San Diego did one of those.
Well, no, we got a foundation fund. You can donate directly to
Oh.
San Diego Foundation.
But isn't it a fund? Isn't that what you're talking about, the deadline for?
Oh, well, these are grants. You have some grants.
Oh, to get a grant.
Yes.
Ah.
Some big projects.
Okay, that's okay. Chris will cover that tomorrow. He is creating his agenda as we go by here. Okay.
Are you coming to USA Awards?
We'll see.
Yeah, okay.
More MGA deadlines. March 15th, Vice President MGA Board Member Chair, MGA Treasurer, MGA Vice Chairs. Anyway, we're probably not going to do that here. MGA Committee Members, Liaisons. Okay.
But the committee-
You can nominate yourself. By the way, there's an important thing here. If you'd like to get a job, there's plenty of jobs to do that pay excellent.
Well,
Double your pay every year, yeah. With inflation. Yeah.
Look at the committee members, because there are some of them are appointed, they're like regional things, but there's other committees where they're looking for people to volunteer.
Yeah, they are looking for people to do stuff. So if you've got some time and you'd like to do something constructive and useful, we got things for you to do. Deadlines. By the way, this is important, is that March 31st is the deadlines for the annual reporting and rebate requirements. So get your reports in now. I think if you get them in early, they're still doing isn't it a bonus? 10% bonus, yeah. So get them in. Yeah, if you get them in February, that's from February. February to get the bonus. What's the date in February? I have 5 different dates. 15th, February 15th, if you want to get that 10% bonus. So be there or be square. So anyway, additional information at this URL. All right, now here's some stuff on things that I think we can do in Region 6 resources. The first of all is who in Region 6 is doing what. And so here's a list, and I know you can't read any of that, but we're gonna put.
It's on the web already.
But it is on the web, except I got a few email addresses that I didn't get right. Right, Dan?
Yes, sir.
Yes, we're gonna fix those. But we've got a few sheets of this, and I just realized apparently I don't think we have a technical activities liaison person, do we? Because I think Region 4 does. We may need to create some new ones. Ooh, that's a good one.
He was
Actually.
the VP of Technical Activities right now.
So some other resources. So we are going to talk about the area meetings and such, and I want to figure out in our fall. So we got our spring area meetings. We want to figure out what's going to happen in our fall area meetings here. But the spring area meetings typically focus on section leader meetings and section area region initiatives and committee reports like PACE, student activities, awards, other topics. One of the things I think we need to look at is a focus. You know, we can talk briefly about history and stuff, but let's not get hung up on that. I think what we really need to do is look at strategy and plans for the future. What are we going to do? What are we going to do to create more value for the members in IEEE in particular? And what can we do at our area and our section level to do that? I think that has to be some of our focus. Our typical fall area meetings focuses on student training, student competitions, that kind of stuff. Student leader training going on, papers, micromouse, hackathons, various other things we can be doing. We need to think about what we can do with these meetings to get those students to sign up and continue as full IEEE members. Again, how can we create value in the society? How can we we're not the only ones having all the fun, we can get more people involved. So here's our schedule right now. So right now we're in this spring, quote, spring. February 23rd, 25th, Region 6 meeting. March 21st, we're going to have the Northeast area meeting, right? April 11th is the Northwest area meeting. April 18th is the Southwest area meeting. All right, good. You have that all set? In the bag, okay. All right, April 25th.
Dr. James Hannon.
Okay. April 25th, the Central Area meeting, and May 2nd is the Southern Area meeting. So we want to start seeing those agendae and invitations going out real soon, folks.
Where are those meetings?
Yes, Doug.
Not just a reading test, right? It's for reading. February 23rd. Are we going to have another meeting next month?
Oh, that's supposed to be January.
Yeah. Okay.
I'm ahead of myself.
That was a little test, right?
It was a test. I just want to make sure you're reading it. Yeah, right. Thank you, Doug.
How many areas have their venue yet? We know the location. No location.
Okay, so we got North,
Boise for Northeast.
Northeast, and Southwest.
Where's San Diego for Southwest?
Okay, you're taking minutes?
But not
San Diego?
San Diego is Southwest.
Okay, Northwest?
And Boise is Northeast.
Correct.
Okay, how about
Northwest?
Northeast? Southwest is Seattle, is that correct?
Northwest.
I'm sorry, Northwest is Seattle, excuse me.
So that's April 11th.
No, Southwest Seattle would be good.
What about Central? Where's that going to be?
Southern area is going to be in Los Angeles.
Imagine that,
Are you
yeah.
going to be joint?
Southern is Los Angeles. No, that's the fall. Southern is Los Angeles, right?
Right.
Okay, how about Central area? Is Mustafa here?
He's outside.
Oh, he's doing the bat. Okay.
Well,
Anybody in the?
wasn't that going to be set up so that we could be adjoining the women's?
No, that's the.
There was a discussion about that.
I don't think we did it.
I thought he was trying for San Jose.
Yeah, let's put San Jose in. What the heck? That's easy for me. Summer, August 15th, we're going to have a Region 6 strategy meeting. That, you know, it's a small group. People get together to talk about things you want to do and initiatives.
Is that like the XCOM or is it just?
No, this is
That's
XCOM is later. Okay, let's see if I got all these dates right. So a plan is to have at least 2 consolidated meetings, but we're actually talking earlier that maybe we could do a threefer. So these are the dates we set up, but can we agree on who's going to be what, when, and where? Yes, Sarge.
Dan and I are planning on combining for the fall.
Oh, okay, so this will be the,
Northeast, Southwest.
okay, Northeast, Southwest. Which day?
It's going to be the first day. He's done the research. We need to do a little more research.
Okay,
5 minutes.
so-
Northeast, Southwest.
so one thought we had, we were just discussing this over lunch, was how about if we did Southern, Central, and South, and Northwest, right?
No,
Southwest. Oh, but that'd be you.
Southwest,
Yeah, that'd be-
with northeast.
That, with Dan and I have been talking for a while now about doing the northeast, north.
Oh, okay. Well, that's fine. You know what we could do? We could do,
We're open.
or we could do northeast. So basically, it's like way west coast.
We could do arena, where we do central and then.
Well, would you guys have already planned on doing something
Yeah,
together?
we're planning.
Okay. Well, why don't we do we should get Mustafa in on this one. Can someone go grab Mustafa?
Central is San Jose.
No, that's spring. Yeah. I'm talking about the fall. I want to get all these ironed out so we know what the schedule is going to be.
I've got all this stuff on the website.
We'll take either the 17th or the 24th. Yeah, we can't do the 3rd.
Okay. How about 17th?
We're good.
Northeast, southwest on the 17th of October.
That's going to be in Vegas.
Vegas.
Okay, Mustafa, we're talking about fall. First of all, the spring central area meeting. We already have the date. You know that, right?
Yes.
Okay, we're going to do it in San Jose. Is that okay? Okay. All right, somewhere around there. Okay. And the fall meeting, we're talking about maybe combining central with at least one other area. So I wanted to have you in on that. So maybe with the southern and central, so that'd be basically California, would be one, well, not only California, but. But maybe instead of leaving the northwest all by the lonesome, we ought to combine all three of them together and have an uber mega area meeting. Does that sound cool? Okay, in Vegas? Wait a minute, that's not in there.
There's plenty of room on the Rising Stars plan.
I suggest,
It was a blast.
So,
Art, you should have Southwest and Central and meet in Hawaii.
ooh, that would be popular. Unfortunately, I don't know if our travel budget will deal with that.
Hey, Tom, that'll help with our assessment.
That'll help us. Oh, now.
We can charge it to Coughlin as
Yeah, right. Well, I could.
He's got to put his kids through college. How far can you wade? Larry's still sitting here.
I know he is. He's taking serious notes. Seriously, though, how about?
We do need to introduce.
Oh, we should. We should. Yes. So, Lauren, this is actually the vice president of Members of Geographic Activities, Lawrence Wong. Thank you. He did. We're glad to have you here.
Singapore.
From Singapore. He comes from Singapore, exactly. Okay, so does that sound like a plan, though? We get
If you
these.
pick the right location, he'll probably come back.
He might. How about Hawaii, Lawrence? Does that sound good? But does that sound like a plan, though? I think that could work out. So southern, that's you. Central, and north, lease. You want to do northwest? You guys want to be in there?
It's fine, the feedback was they like being in the northeast, so combined meetings here.
Okay,
Okay, so it sounded like northeast, northwest, and southwest.
that could work. Would you like to be part of that axis instead?
No, yeah, you guys need to, sorry.
Well,
Spread out.
You want to try something different,
We're
right?
gonna try something different. You know what you guys are.
Okay. Yeast.
Our meeting's going to be in Vegas.
You don't want to do that in Alaska in the fall?
No.
Oh, okay. All
Can
right.
our travel budget allow us to go to Alaska? I'd love to visit.
All right. All right. So we have one date that's so we've only got one other meeting we're going to do. We have one date that's taken, which is the 17th. So the available dates for this 3-for area meeting is going to be October 3rd, October 24th, or let's see, no, 2 dates, either October 3rd or October 24th
October 3rd.
for the combined.
Some of the issue is sometimes the students aren't back till late September, so to organize a trip to somewhere in early October might be difficult.
Would the 3 area chairs get together and come to a decision on those 2 dates?
Okay.
Thank you. All right, let's move on. Yes.
Could I just correct one thing?
Oh, sure.
If those sections that third Friday of February. February 20th.
Oh, so it's a little later, February 20th. Okay. Thank you. So I'm realizing I'm falling behind because we're, let's see, pursuing, so some quick things here.
What was the location, the region meeting?
That's to be determined.
Okay.
But and those two dates, one of those two dates, the 3rd or the 24th of October.
The 6th meeting.
Sorry? Oh, I'm sorry. That was the XCOM meeting.
Where is that?
How about we do that in the Bay Area somewhere?
Always
Atascadero, right? All right. There's a lot of good flights in that area. Okay, pursuing. So some quick things. I want to show you some things that are going on in the IEEE, which I think are really interesting. We've got a whole bunch of different training and standards, tutorials, webinars, a lot of different resources out there that are available, supported by various IEEE functional units that we really should, Lance, find the resources to make our regions available and informed about these things. We've been involved in interesting things like activities at cool events like South by Southwest. We actually organized a bunch of sessions, parties, all kinds of cool things at stuff like this. I think we need to be, this is the kind of stuff that puts us on the map. We should be doing TED Talks, involved in these technology-oriented social events, things like that. This Collaboratech could have a lot of potential. It'd be very, very interesting to allow us to create collaborative opportunities. And I know Fred has been one of the guys putting that together. He might be able to talk more on that. But to create ways of doing collaborations both on the technical level, but ideally where we can also do some social and geographical sort of connections and associations. Yes, Joe?
Is Collaboratech an international thing or is it a Region 6 thing?
It's international. It's big IEEE. Yeah. And it's being rolled out in the beta now, and they're actually looking to create communities in various areas. So, Joe, if you wanted to get something up in Seattle.
There are no West Coast communities yet.
Well, there is one. Yes, there is. At least one.
Collaboratech is no West Coast.
Yes, there is.
Yeah,
Wasn't there last week?
San Jose.
San Jose. We just don't have anyone around to Mustafa to make it happen yet. IEEE could be cool to lead. We can bring in the best. We can be the best. We can get involved in worthwhile IEEE and non-IEEE activities. Like you say, how about science fiction conventions? How about things like this? TED Talks, things like that. We can work to create a broader sense of the value and uses of technology, humanitarian as well as economic values. It's in our motto. We can teach, inspire, and mentor the next generation, even IEEE student members. We can create the future we'd like to live in. Now, that if we do that kind of stuff, it really is, this is true value. This is what engineers are all about, is we're going to make the future. So, some plans for Region 6. First of all, you got a bunch of conferences we've got going on. The WE International Conference is in our area. It's in San Jose, April 23rd to 25th, 2015. GHTC, Joe is the chair of that. GHTC, October in Seattle. SUSTech in July, August 2015, near Salt Lake City. And make sure, Dan, that you get people there from Salt Lake City. Rising Stars, we'll do that again January 3rd and 4th, 2016 in Las Vegas, Lost Wages. IEEE Day is October 6th, 2015. Here's some logos down here, including the cool Rising Stars thing that Mike got made. New conference ideas. We want to make Region 6 website the resource for students, section leaders, and IEEE members. Yay, Lance. Region 6 looking to create annual technology conferences with industrial focus. There's a guy named Mike Condrey from Intel who is really trying to get something going there. Yes, so he's working on getting something happen. You're the guy?
The Region 6 conference guy. You asked me to do that.
Oh, what's that?
The Region 6 conference guy. That was Jim. Replacing Steve.
Let's see.
So, I mean, I can be the one person.
We'll talk. So we're also looking to create a conference in intellectual property. Part of this is because of the interesting controversy going on in the standards thing, which led to we ought to really have some stuff to talk about this. Look at all the aspects of intellectual property and patents and all these things. So I think we could do this in Region 6. We'll partner with other IEEE, non-IEEE entities and worthwhile events like this TechMandy thing. If they do that again, we might do that again. There's a SMPTE conference on entertainment in an internet age. It's going to be in the Bay Area, thinking of doing some with those folks and other people as well. Want to create some capability to find out what's going on in Region 6. So people, some kind of a federated, easy searchable list of Region 6 meetings, maybe linked up with all of our, our section things, if we can do that. And actually, Paul Westling is here. He's got something interesting he's been doing in the Bay Area Council, and this could be that could be a feed into something that's bigger if people get sections
We're talking
working.
about federating it out to SNEC also,
Mhm.
ASME and other groups.
That would be interesting. Increase our ties. So could tie into our chapter meeting recording, which is another initiative we're trying to do, which is to create an online collection of technical chapter meeting recordings. John Walsh, who is past president of the Computer Society, is with us here. We've been conspiring on doing this for a couple years now. And we actually got some funding from the IEEE New Initiatives Committee to create this technical chapter recording. So Region 4, our neighbors over here, and Region 6 are working with the Computer Society. John's helping us with that to actually host and create the technology. Doing that, it's going to be one of our workshops tomorrow, which will be on this technical chapter recording training. We have hundreds of these things going on. Every we probably have like 40 or so just in the Bay Area.
We have about 25 a month.
25 a month, So we can have maybe 100 events going on every month. You do that a few times, you can have thousands of recordings of stuff that could be, if it's done well, could be very, very interesting stuff. We want to create the means by which our section leaders can be able to do this kind of recording, be able to post them up and have them searchable and available for free for IEEE members worldwide. Yes, Joe?
Just to add to that, I've been wanting to do this for a long time, and I'm glad we're getting the support. I'm always interested in the two major value propositions for a professional society, which are you have to learn stuff all the time, you have to network. And this is all about creating a lot more material that's accessible in a different way than academic papers, that doesn't have the barriers in the way that Explorer has. So I love this.
So it's grassroots. I think it creates a new type of intellectual property. The other thing is we have 30 of these microphone sets for doing this stuff, and I don't want to haul them back in my van. So we're making these available. They cost like $170. They've got basically some of the parts are over there and here. They cost $170. We're going to make them available to sections that want to get this started for $100 each. Okay, so if you're interested in that, tomorrow at the chapter meeting recording, we're going to take your orders, and you can walk away with them. Anyway. Yeah.
Sherry's got a question.
Yes, Sherry.
We plan to do in all our external meeting before that hour we will have a technical session. But those things will be a few hours long. Are you willing to do the video? That will be a huge amount of data.
What this is, I'm actually running the software right now on here. It's Camtasia software that shows the PowerPoint and the voice of the speaker.
Oh, not the person.
We're not having cameras to show video.
Not the video.
That's correct.
So that will be less.
We're trying to make minimum, that's the base configuration. And even then, there's still problems sometimes.
We can't afford that much.
Besides, some of us aren't worth looking at, Much better to hear you. So, other things. We got this virtual and hybrid conferences. Actually, this is something that Mike got going last year, and I think this is going to be great. We've acquired a license to be Copious, a program developed by the IEEE Educational Activities Board for hosting virtual events. We're going to use this capability for the first time we used it at the Rising Stars Conference. We plan to make this capability widely available for Region 6 events in 2015. For instance, we're going to be doing a virtual job fair that we're putting together. Was it May?
Career Expo in June.
June it was, in June this year. Yes. Yes, Joe.
Given that, should we be, even though we're running an IEEE-sponsored conference, GHTC number 5, can we also use these tools to record material?
Yes.
And are the copyrights controlled by Explore or by the conference in some other way?
We control it.
We control it. If there are conferences, we control it.
Well, my interest is in making sure that whatever we develop in a humanitarian conference is actually available to the people who might run with it, rather than hiding behind the Explorer paywall.
So we're we can do this.
Because the plan for GHTC is that you can register, and we don't care if you, I would just pick a number, it's $550 to register. I don't care if you show up in Seattle or you sit in your jammies and watch it or be involved with it from St. Louis. Okay? It's the same registration fee, and it's a live event.
We're going to talk about this more. This is very easy to believe.
So we could talk.
We did it with.
We could talk more.
With Rising Stars, works perfectly.
I'm glad I came here. We'll talk. Let him on the agenda, and we'll talk.
but we want to have the side conversations going on because we got a lot of stuff we got to get done. We cannot do it all in this meeting, so let's not try to. Schedule for this weekend. Okay, so first of all, we're here now. Supposedly, lunch. Supposedly at 2 o'clock, we're going to get to our presentation discussion of strategies, but I wanted to go to at least show the budget, so I'm trying to get through this so I can do that. We could either do something on the budget today or wait till tomorrow morning and finish that up. So we're going to have a discussion of strategies, region, area meeting agendas, and schedules. We actually did that one. Check that one out. Chapter recording issue. We'll have some talk about that. Corporate out. Okay, this is our agenda. I don't want to do that because we're going to do it anyway. Friday schedule, 3:15. We have committee reports and updates. Government activities is not supposed to run into that. Then we'll have a break at 5. At 5:15, we're going to actually do our first Region 6, Region 4 get-together where we're going to introduce ourselves to each other and start, socializing between the two groups. And so that's 5:15 up until 6 o'clock. And Barry Shoup, which hopefully he'll get here, is going to be talking to us. He's the president-elect. So he'll be talking to the joint. We're going to turn these two rooms into a big room. That's where it's going to be. Okay. And a joint R4 and R6, and then Cecilia Jankowski, managing director of Members in Geographic Services, will be speaking. Then we're going to have a mixer at 6:30, and we're going to have an actual supper here at 7 p.m. It's the only supper we're having on site because they're too expensive otherwise. That's why tomorrow you're free range. So that's today. Tomorrow, Saturday. So we'll have finish up our region meeting and a joint training day. We'll have breakfast at 7:30. We'll have these. If we need to do budget stuff, we'll do that first. Then we're going to have area section breakouts. Region 6, Northwest, Northeast, Northwest, Central, Southern, and Southwest. We'll finish that at 9:45, and then we're going to have a Region 4 at 10 after a break. Region 6 and Region 4 section discussions where we're going to do something interesting. We're going to get the large sections together, the medium sections together, the small sections together from the two regions to talk to each other about best practices, issues, problems, and try to think of, get some interesting interactions going on. I think it'll be very interesting to get kind of discussion. Saturday also, starting, 11 o'clock, we're going to have our first of 3 parallel sessions, room 1, 2, and 3. One of the rooms is the porthole out there by the pool, so bring your towel. The other 2 are going to be these 2 rooms. One will be making your own e-grid. That's Paul Westling. The other will be chapter meeting recording with John Walsh and crew. And there's a bunch of them now. Membership development, Chris Wright, who is developing his agenda even as we listen here. So we're going to have that at 11, and then lunch we'll have 12:30 rather lunch. These are hour-and-a-half sessions. At 1:15 we're going to have e-grid again, chapter meeting recording, and then V-Tools. That's you, John. V-Tools, okay. And then 12:45, we have another break. 3 o'clock, section officer training, project management for IEEE. Let's see, so that's Karen over here. She's going to do that. And then hybrid conferences, Scott Tomashiro. And then 4:30, we're going to have a repeat of the section officer training, project management, hybrid conferences. At the very end of that, we've got a request for somebody to talk about this one side's view of the standards discussion that's going on here. So that's Saturday, and finishing up 6 o'clock, we'll have the IEEE President-elect dialogue, candidate dialogue, and then we'll have at 6:30 Lawrence, that's you're on, Vice President, Members of Geographic Activities. 6:45 Jeff Jeffries, IEEE USA President. I'm sorry, Jim Jeffries. It is Jim, and I missed. Okay, I did that wrong. IEEE USA President. At 7 o'clock, we'll have the IEEE USA President-elect candidate dialogue. They didn't like debates, so we did dialogue. So at 7:30 will be supper on your own, or better with small groups from Region 6 and Region 4. And there's a whole bunch of restaurants around here. And I think, Scott, you got some, Scott's got sheets showing you where stuff is. Sunday, we'll have a repeat, basically breakfast 7:30, and then training starting at 8 o'clock. IEEE Collaboratech. Then room 2 is running a successful corporate liaison program with John Swan. And then I'll do something on this IEEE Future Directions Committee, 9:30 break, and then 9:45, the Collaboratech again, Successful Corporate Liaisons and Future Directions. We're doing some of these repeating so people have a chance to go to more than one thing is what we've been doing here. And then 11:45, Summary and Evaluation, where we get the 2 sections together, and then like, was this worthwhile having a joint region meeting, things of that sort. and 12:15 lunch and Region 6 awards, and then 1 o'clock we'll end. So we're actually going to do our awards at noon, so if you can, it'd be great if you could stick around at least through our lunch. It won't take that long at 1 o'clock. So that's this. So what we want to do, is we're trying to create the means to make IEEE a fun place to be, something that people want to be part of, because we're going to create the future. We're the engineers. We're the folks that actually build stuff. We create wealth. We create knowledge. We create the means to feed mankind, the means to give them promise and potential and hope. And so we want to create the future of the IEEE and our own future. And thank you all very much. What's that?
Are there copies of the agenda?
Oh, yes, we have. Karen, you made a whole mess of copies.
Yeah, they're right out on the table.
Well, okay, I'll get it over with.
And
Yeah.
if you don't, if they're gone, we'll make them.
Okay, Scott, did you have something you wanted to show?
We'll do that tomorrow when we do the approval of the budget.
Okay, or let's go through the budget now, though. All right, so we went through trying to figure out a budget for this year based upon our these initiatives and new things we're trying to get going. And it's always interesting because one of the things you find in these budgets is that we will put in budgets, and the money in the budget never gets totally spent because we're dealing with volunteers and various things happen, and somehow you don't.
I want to just walk around and.
Oh, okay. Because and somehow the money doesn't all get spent. So we'll have you have what you project for the budget, and you have what you actually spend, and they're different. Usually, what you actually spend is less than your budget. At least that's the general practice. So let's go. Yes.
Can we introduce Scott?
Oh, I'm sorry. Scott Tomashiro.
I don't need an introduction.
Yes, he does. Scott Tomashiro is this year's treasurer for IEEE Region 6. Scott, by the way, also really did the lion's share of the work in organizing our location and working with the hotel, etc. So I think we should give another round of applause for doing that.
Yeah, I didn't know working with 2 regions would be twice the work. I don't know what I was thinking. So, but hopefully you guys are enjoying it. Just want to welcome. I do have flyers. I don't have one for everyone, but the intention is for people to go in groups. So I'll put them in the back of the room where the agendas are. So there'll be some restaurants that you can do. Recommend making reservations if you can. Probably between 8 to 20 people is probably good. These restaurants.
We're talking about for tomorrow night.
For tomorrow night, and they're within about a mile walking distance. So you can also take trolleys if you want. That's fine.
Or across the street, like the fish grotto.
Don't get hit by the trolleys. Yeah. So one thing about having such a great treasurer in Russ is that he's very dedicated, and he's finishing up making sure all the final numbers run. So I've been kind of on hold, talking with him for a lot of stuff. But for those of you who have been waiting, the first checks will be starting to be cut on Monday. So those are submitted expense reports or PACE projects and awaiting the transfers to your accounts. That'll start on Monday. So thank you for your patience and not bugging me and saying, where's my money? And that'll be going on a regular basis. So now we're going to present the budget. Tom will talk about some of the cool stuff we're going to try and do and the allocations, and pay attention. And if you have suggestions, you can either think about it or bring it up tomorrow before you approve it on Saturday morning.
So you can't read any of this, I'm sure.
I'm trying to see how to make it bigger. Oh, these Macs.
Here, let me help you. Try this. Oh, that didn't help. That made it a lot better, didn't it? Okay. Let's try 200. Is that better?
Yeah.
Okay.
Except we need a...
All right. Well, the top part is what we think we're going to earn. So let's move down to the bottom line there.
The bottom?
No, it's the top line. The revenue.
As you can see, we're trying to build up our repertoire. Yeah. It's not quite working yet.
Let's just start with the expenses after the income.
No, we'll do the income.
Hold on. Let me unzoom it a little bit.
You want to unzoom it? Yeah, that's the problem with zooming.
Okay.
Up, go up. Oops. you want me to run that?
There we go.
All right. There we go. Almost there. There we go. Okay. Is this the?
No, that's the.
That's not the income.
I'm going to need
So we
training on
don't
how to
have-
use a Mac. Okay.
You know, maybe I should do that. Why don't you go on the? You go on the screen. I'll do this. You want to do that? Just because I've done this more. Okay, so right here is our net expected income. So this
You need to blow that up just a bit.
more?
Go to 200%.
175.
Oh, back 200%. Okay.
175. Because otherwise you don't get the last column. 175.
Okay, so last year our budget was $280,000 or $281,000. Our actual spending we think was about $238,000, $239,000. And this, I'm sorry, not spending. This is all income. So, and we think our projection of income right now, and the usual, it's perhaps somewhat conservative because you don't know how some of these conferences are going to do, is about $208,000. Okay. So that's the income. So income grand total. I'm sorry. Income grand total. Sorry, it's $339,000 was what we did last year. Was what our budget was. The actual income was about $286,000. Our budget now, which is a bit conservative, is about $218,000.
So now when we say income, these are also transfers into us. So we got a lot of transfer from the Sections Congress, from MGA.
Anything that comes into the Region 6 account is what this is about. And now if we look at, this is the region, the meetings and social events here. And we've got various amounts here, including this event here, part of which is up here at $20,000, which is, that part's not too far off from what we actually spent last year, which is this column here. And this is the budget. This is last year's budget. This is last year's actual, as best we know. We don't have the finals in yet. And this is our 2015. The bottom line here is that last year our budget was about $36,000 for meeting and social events. Actuals is about $35,000. Weren't too far off. This year we're about $45,000 or so that we're projecting here. And then let's see, professional activities of various sorts. Here's the last year's budget, last year's actual. So our budget was about $47,000. We actually did about $24,000. This year we're projecting at $46,000. It's one of those areas where this will happen if people actually spend the money. So
for everyone who's a committee chair, one of these chairs, this is kind of what's being allocated right now. But if you have project ideas, get them to us as soon as possible. If you need more money or you have an idea that you want to do, give it to us so that we can put a justification of how we want to increase it in here.
So part of the idea, if we don't have it in the actual budget, then it's harder to spend the money on doing things. So our objective here is to get things in the budget that we feel we should get done.
Go ahead, Ed.
Did you, on the income side, did you include like the approximately $24,000 in line item you get for PACE from Electrical USA?
Let's see.
Yeah.
Yes, it's up there.
For PACE.
Yes.
Yeah, I think we put
Yeah, it's all in
20,000
there.
there. So.
Yeah, it's 20. That's professional activities. We put 20,000 in there. See? Yeah. Well, like I said, we're being conservative.
So one of the things tomorrow morning, right? You guys are going to break out into your area meetings and talk about a lot of stuff. Hopefully, there are a lot of good ideas that come out of that, so that when we bring the budget up, we can make quick modifications and then approve it. So again, we're giving you a little bit of time to think about it. This is all in the open, nothing behind the curtain.
Or yeah, go ahead.
On line 100, you have section and region awards, and I think you mean area and region awards.
Let's see. There's a bunch of award stuff on here.
But you don't give money to the sections for that. That's for area.
You're probably right.
You're saying area and region awards?
Yeah.
That's true. This would be area. Yep. All right, let's change that right now. Okay. So this is student activities here. Right here, these guys. So again, this is 2014 budget, 2014 actual, 2015 budget. So it's about $33,000. We budgeted 2014. We spent about $29,000, and our budget this year is about $31,600.
Go ahead, Rhonda.
So if you want the areas to comment on like area travel fund, are you going to go over show them what you have in your budget for that?
So travel is in a separate category that's a little bit below this, so we'll get to that as well.
And it's a bit messy, especially with these joint meetings.
Yes.
Okay, grants and awards and what's called other program expenses. There's a lot of contingency stuff here, like a Micromouse Maze construction. We're gonna form a past directors advisory committee, so we want some money to, and maybe even include the pre-post directors at that meeting. So we're talking about maybe having a meeting sometime this year maybe that actually makes sense to combine that with the strategy meeting too, to do that together. We put a little money into that. Women engineering plus conference attendance. Women in engineering. If folks want to send somebody to the San Jose Women Engineering, we've got some money in for that. Money in for our Global Humanitarian Technology Conference, our seed money for that. Website support, industry outreach, media outreach. As you can see, we've not done these things, but they're in our budget. And then SUSTech conference support. The net here was that last year our budget was 31.8. Our actual was 14.5. And our budget this year is 29.8. We're, again, being ambitious in that if we could do stuff. Other program expenses. So a bunch of this stuff was Sections Congress. We won't have that this year, so we're not doing that. We got
there's all the travel stuff.
All the travel stuff is in here, and down here we've got all of the. So you got the operation committee meeting. So this is the meeting we're having right now. Our budget last year was $45,000. We spent $30,000 in this travel part. This year, and we don't know what the actual would be. This may be conservative, but we got 47 in there just because. Okay, and it's not that far off from what it was last year. That could be less, but that's what we put in there. And now we've got money in here which covers all of these meetings. And this is a bit messy. We were struggling with this earlier. The net of all this is that we're putting money in for travel for these meetings that in composite represents what we spent last year, essentially. Okay, so it's going to be hard to figure that out from these numbers, but if it all adds up to about $57,000.
How did those combined area meetings end up working out in terms of cost? Was it neutral or?
I think it was more or less neutral. Yeah. I don't know if we get any efficiency. I think it really helped to get the additional people in the interaction, but I'm not sure we got any cost efficiencies out of it.
If you scroll down a little bit further, you see, well, you can't really see all of it.
No.
But we had budgeted 113.
Yeah, here's the budget here, 113.5.
And we spent 120, but if you take a look, there's some areas, there's some spending that we had in travel that had nothing to do with the area meeting. Okay, I mean,
This isn't all area meetings, right?
There's $6,000 of unbudgeted money that we spent on non-area meeting activities, on travel. I mean, MAW expense and regional activities expense, those were not part of that.
This here, yeah, these two.
So,
There's no budget here for that.
we were pretty pleased that we actually, I think, the conversations I had with Russ, that we were actually did better on our expenses than on travel. With the area meetings and the individual area meetings themselves.
I mean, the other thing about the area meetings is that you have one venue versus two venues, but not only that, it seemed to draw a lot more people. I mean, at the Southern by Southwest meeting, right? Usually you get maybe 30 and 30. We had like almost 80 people, I think, that came. And so it seems to draw people out knowing that they're going to be networking with other engineers. So it's a very positive thing to do at least once a year.
And so we're planning on doing that, continuing that again this year, is to have, and maybe even this Uber three area meetings, see how that goes. So the bottom line on all this travel is last year our budget was 113, as Mike mentioned. We spent about 121. This also includes Section of Congress too. Yes, it did. And then we're budgeting this year to 139, which is probably a bit conservative, but we'll see. Support to Sections chapter. There's a small amount in here. 10,000 is budgeted last year. We spent 700. We put 5,000 in there. Other management general expenses.
On the Sections
Yeah.
Congress, how was that for the region in terms of cost? Because I believe was giving us some money.
Yeah, it was basically a wash. Yeah, I think it basically covered our expenses. Mike, do we think we spent any of our money for that?
Well, actually, the way we allocated the money, managed it. Well, thanks to Loretta, we had some brilliant things that we did in this section of Congress. We actually did better with money management. We technically made money. We won't say that.
Excuse me. Yeah.
It's all on paper.
It's all actually funny money anyway.
Yeah.
But we were able to spend the money that we had allocated for the region effectively. Some regions went into their base funding to help support it. We didn't do that. We chose not to. So we managed that fund very, very well. We made sure that every section had the opportunity to be represented. And I think we were, say, at least successful in doing that.
Okay.
That worked.
So, section chapter, other management general expenses, the net here, that was about 18,000 budget. We spent about 3,600. We're putting in about 11.6 is our budget there. So if we add all those expenses together, last year our budget was 295,000. We actually spent 230,000. This year we have a budget of 313,000, which, was within 15,000 of what we had for our budget last year. Now, what does this all mean? If we take our admittedly conservative income, like assume we don't make money on these conferences, last year, again, our income was 325,000 is what the budget was. We actually made 286,000. We had a surplus of 56,000. Now, as a historical perspective, we actually put in that includes a $48,000 reserve draw, which we didn't spend, obviously, because we're 56,000. So we're positive 56 minus 48, okay, last year. Now this year, according to this budget we got here, we're just under $100,000 that we have to pull out reserves to do this. Now that's not even taking into account that 48,000 draw for last year. So it'd basically be another 50,000 draw out of our reserves if we were going to cover that. That's assuming that we actually we actually have the spending at the rate we do it. And as you saw before, we probably don't spend like $60,000 or $70,000 what we budget in general. Not that we want to do that, but that's generally what ends up happening. So that's the budget right now, the way we've got it here. And we could have some more discussion on this. We could have additions to it. Yes, Mike.
And one of the things that we do over the past few years with the budget development, we said, okay, well, if we think Karen needs some money, if we think that John needs some money, we make a pretty good guess at what we think they're going to need.
That's what we tried to do in here. We put money into stuff.
We just put money in,
yeah.
And if John needs $200 and we put in $1,000, and John spends $100, that's a $900 difference in that line item budget.
Now we have about 260,000 in reserves right now, I think, if I remember, something like that.
But it's always made us, and the collective leadership, crazy when somebody says, "Well, I need money for this," and there's no money in the budget. We would rather have money set aside in the budget to be able to use, rather than say, "Well, we have to wait till next year because the budget has been locked in place." So that's where we come up with these numbers. We think that's responsible. We would love to see a larger income, but as Tom said, we did it all on a pretty conservative level. If Sustec does what they should do and generate $100,000 worth instead of $2,000,
no pressure.
What?
No pressure.
However, we are in danger here of spending basically our reserves every year. Okay, so I think it's an important consideration, in terms of. But we need to do this because these are important things we're trying to do, the initiatives, the actions we want to do. We want to enable our volunteers and create value for our members. Yes, Larry?
In that respect, it used to be that WestCon distributed roughly $50,000 to $60,000 a year to the sections.
Yes.
So that went away.
Yes.
Okay. Now, spending your reserves to fill in that is, to me, a good expenditure. And then if you need an assessment, yes.
Yes.
Along those lines, Region 6 has the lowest assessment of the other 10, of the other 9 regions on the plan.
We get $1, and some of the other ones are as high as $19 per member.
And so, spending your reserves is not a
I can pull them. I can pull them up. I've got them.
Can we go back to section 5.1? Okay, because the program and project management is a new department for our region, if I needed to get to each of the different area meetings to focus on the project, where would that budget be? And how would we estimate that?
There's a number of potential places we could do that, and
You can have the area chair invite you.
yes, yes.
And then you guys would cover or the area?
Yes.
You will be covered.
Eventually, it comes out of us anyway.
As far as, for planning purposes, because it is a new area.
Yeah.
It's not on the budget. I didn't want to surprise.
Well, make a proposal, and we'll work at that. Because I do want to see us using some of these tools in order to more effectively use our volunteers' time.
Go ahead, Doug.
I'm just wondering, we're talking about these combined area meetings where Southern might be traveling now. How do we see and review what you've got down for travel for the areas to these meetings?
Well, we did it last year for, where we had like twofers. We haven't done a threefer yet. But the twofers, we spent about $57,000, and our budget includes about $57,000.
So as you can see on these line items, they're no longer broken by spring and fall meeting. They're kind of combined as an allocation, however you want to.
And it's kind of messy, It's like we had a $21,000 one at the top.
Kind of hard to read.
Yeah.
So typically if the spring meeting's in LA, right? There's not that many travel expenses, and then
almost done.
And then for the fall, that's where all your travel expenses.
So if we do these meetings in a large geographic area where at least one of the areas, people won't have to travel much, that will help a lot. And so if we do this big one, we've got to do it in some large place.
Yeah, either central or southern.
One of those two, I think, yeah. And the people from Seattle and thereabouts just have to fly down, where it's warmer, maybe.
In the sunshine.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm assuming that in your diligence for budgeting, you can trace all the budget to region goals. Yes.
Well, yes, yeah.
And that's why when you guys, talk with other people, talk with Region 4, see what kind of ideas they have. And when you get together with areas tomorrow morning, if you have projects that you think will be beneficial and you think you'll need either funding money or, half with the section, let us know so we can actually have something that we can put in there that we can justify.
So this is basically going to cut into our breakouts. We do that. So we do that for the breakouts. Yeah. Shall we do that tomorrow morning, first thing?
Yes.
In terms of the budget session, like pays or student activity, those things, is it like before we already only allocate $500 per session, but the activity costs way more than that. So are we going to have more possible from like a support from region 6? Because sometimes the
So one of the things we've been doing, if you have section activities, we'll fund like half of things, something. That's been typical of things we've done, like Rising Stars, we did that.
So the point is that $500 is not the limit.
Oh, the PACE funding?
The PACE and the student activity or YP. So
Yeah.
if we have session only have $500, then it's hard to cover so many activities. We have a huge section.
But if you can do 500, we can do 500. Then you can do 1,000, for instance.
If I do use 2,000,
So you're wondering, can you get more? Give us a proposal. You can. What's that? For PACE money, I think it has to have the section match, right? Yeah. You still have to have a section. It'd have to be the same amount from the section. You want to get more?
There's PACE grants.
Let's see. Would you do that directly to PACE rather than the region? I think that.
There's PACE grants.
Keith, can you talk about PACE grants?
Yeah, sure can. Keith Moore, I'm the PACE chair for the region.
sometimes I don't recognize everybody's going to see you again. Between this and Scouts and Civil Air Patrol and other things are volunteer for, I meet a lot of people, and when I only see you once a year, I apologize. But for the PACE projects, please do put in as many as you have. We've got approximately $20,000 per year that we can submit and do. It has to be section matched money. It has to be section approved, and it's transferred to the section for it. But like this last year, I've got a report that we're going to do sometime this weekend, maybe here in a few minutes. It shows all the ones we did last year, and some of the sections had 3 or 4. Some of them had 1, 2. Some of them had none. But we spent the money and hoping to do the same thing this year. It's first served on the ones that qualify.
But there's also PACE grants, there's roughly $1,500. That goes to PACE.
But then that goes to PACE, which is an IEEE USA. Yeah.
Yeah, there are for larger projects. There's a IEEE USA PACE request.
So can we?
Outside the scope of what we can fund.
So Keith, can we and Lance, can we get do we have a web page for PACE projects where we can put the forms?
The forms are up on the site already.
Okay, including the PACE grants. Okay, good.
But are the PACE grant forms there?
Well,
PACE request form.
Yeah, they're from IEEE USA.
I'm talking the grants.
The grants that the IEEE USA.
Oh, but we can at least get the link to it.
They're on the IEEE USA site.
But let's get it. Let's put a link to that. Yeah, on our page.
You know
Yeah.
how long the approval cycle takes for PACE grants?
PACE grant goes to the PACE committee, which theoretically is supposed to be meeting monthly, but I don't know if they're doing monthly or not.
And what they're picking up now is the IEEE USA one. It's a pretty long process, and it can get funding up to thousands of dollars. But the ones that we have here locally, we can turn it around in a couple of days. If you give me the project request, and it's all got all the information in it, it's been approved by your section, and they're matching the funds. And as soon as I check my email, I forward it up to Tom and say, hey, this one looks good. Can we approve it? And he replies back and says yes. Goes to the treasurer, and the funds are distributed. So the ones here within the region are fairly quick. The ones you go up to IEEE USA for one that's outside of the $500 or $1,000, whatever we can fund. Generally, we limit to $500. If it's for a very large group of people, hundreds of IEEE members that are going to benefit from it, we can expand that to maybe $1,000 or $1,500. But generally, it's limited to $500 from the region and $500 from the section, so for a $1,000 project.
So,
sources of funds available, the foundation, the societies.
Mm-hmm.
So if that's something that addresses them, most of them have a way of getting.
Is there anything anyone would like to? Anything you think of that you'd like to have us doing that we didn't show ourselves doing up here? Yes. Well, Charles, you don't count. Well, go ahead if you got an idea, but
Scott,
yeah.
here's the mic.
But we're not going to give money to Charles.
It's not all about money for me.
Okay.
Okay, but I did want to point out for your student activities person.
Uh-huh.
So,
right there.
That next year, 2016, there will be a student congress, first in IEEE.
In 2016, yeah.
2016
right.
in New Orleans in
Yep.
April, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
And the specifics of how that's going to be funded, whether or not there's going to be an IEEE USA annual meeting, technical conference, or whatever, that hasn't been sorted out just yet. But when you're talking and thinking about setting up your student activities, bear in mind that somehow, some way, there's got to be something put into this budget in preparation for next year. Because if you don't start putting it away now, it's kind of like Sections Congress. Whomp, it's there.
Thank you.
Okay, thanks.
So any other questions? Feel free to either email or talk to us afterward.
Well, actually,
Yes, go ahead.
if we don't have any more things to add to it, we could vote on it. I mean,
Somebody wants to move it.
yeah.
I'd like to make a motion that we adopt this budget.
Okay. Okay. Motion's been made and seconded. Is there any discussion?
I just wanted to indicate that there will be humanitarian activities, and therefore some travel to go to the area meetings and others to coordinate groups. And I don't think there's any interview with this.
Okay. Let's see. I'm trying to think. Might fit under professional activities.
Which committee is this?
Oh, he's talking about some humanitarian, site travel or something like that.
Humanitarian activity
Mm-hmm.
in this region.
We have the Global Humanitarian Technology Conference. I got that. That's separate.
He's a humanitarian chair.
Yeah. Let's see. This would be travel, right?
So I do not think we have a humanitarian entry as one of the committee chairs like we do industry relations and stuff like that. So
Let's see. Where would that?
might be a comment to relate to.
Well, no. Let's do it now if we're gonna.
I have a question.
Yeah.
So I thought, as one of the conference chairs here in Region 6, that I'm traveling as part of the Region 6 travel budget and not humanitarian budget or suspect budget or whatever. So my question, working backwards, is do we have budget to support travel for people associated with conferences in Region 6?
No. There's a lot of noise over here. So the question was, do we have funding to support travel for conferences in Region 6? Is that it?
Since these are Region 6 conferences, you
Right.
want us officers of Region 6 conferences here.
Mm-hmm.
Otherwise, it's not.
Well, we have oftentimes had, for instance, the director. We have had officers at like the director generally goes to all the conferences. What's that?
You requested the conference chair to come here, so who's paying for that travel? Are you paying for that travel?
Are you asked for people to go to the conference or the conference chair to go somewhere?
Well, my understanding is I'm here at this conference because I was requested to be
Right.
as part of the conference committee, such as it is,
Mm-hmm.
for this region.
Mm-hmm.
And just off the top, I thought, am I covered by Region 6 or not?
You're covered by Region 6 for this trip. Yes.
Under which budget item is the question?
There's one for OPCOM.
For the outcome.
Travel.
For the outcome travel.
That answers that question.
So what would we need for humanitarian?
I think somewhere in the range of
2,500. Okay. So let me see. Where would this go? Scott, where do you think I should put that? Professional activities, maybe?
Well, it's kind of, you're doing it for the committee, right? So you can put it under professional activities for now.
That's what I'm thinking.
Just create a 4.79
That's
all humanitarian
I'm thinking of doing that.
activities.
So I need to create one more space here. And we'll do a 4.79. And we'll call it humanitarian activities support.
While you're typing that in, any other comments, discussion?
There was a conferences. Isn't there a conferences budget item?
There is a budget item for the various different conferences, yes.
Okay, well, you have a conference committee, right?
We do have a conference committee, yeah. Oh, we don't have anything for travel or meetings for conference committee. We have it. That's because it's a fairly new thing. Yes, I did.
We had, on the conferences, Larry, we actually charge those back in.
Right here.
We actually charge those costs back into the conference so that we can track what a conference actually costs us. And if that included, like, when Joe's on OPCOM, Dan's on OPCOM, but if they weren't, we would pull that into a conference cost so we would know exactly what it costs to put on a conference.
The other thing is that does fit with, or at least so far, we've been doing that kind of talk in our strategy meetings where we invite the conference chairs to the strategy meetings we do. So I think there is some support. I mean, if we get enough stuff going on, we may need to have separate meetings for that, but I don't think we're there yet.
The
Paul.
improved section communications issue we talked about.
Yes.
Housing and expenses.
That's a professional.
For travel.
I think that fits in here too. Thanks for reminding me of that.
Total of 6,000.
We had that online conference platform stuff. Is that
4.80. And what are we going to call that?
Improved section communications.
Section communications improvements.
I have a full budget for that, but I don't have any costs associated.
So what we said 6,000 total.
6,000.
Okay.
so easy? Tom did that.
Sherry?
Yeah, if we need somebody, some help from Region 6, for example, want somebody come to train us about creating with website and those kind of stuff.
To train about websites?
Training. So for the officers, for example, if you're a webmaster or somebody who come to teach us how to do
Yeah, we have things like that in the budget. Yeah.
Okay, thanks.
Over there.
Is there a separate line item for educational activities, or is that educational activities?
We have all of this student activities.
There's
Let's see.
college, I know. There's more than students, continuing professional education and some other.
Yeah, let me see where that.
That's what PACE is.
That's what PACE. We have all this PACE. We have a bunch of PACE money in here. But let's see, pre-college. You know, you're talking about like continuing education, that sort of thing. That would be under PACE. We'd fund that under PACE.
And how much do we have?
For PACE, we've got $14,000 right now.
Plus the leadership part.
Plus other things we can use to fund that.
Plus the 20 that we get from
We get 20. So we got 30, maybe $40,000, something like that for those kind of things. It can split between those. Let's see. I think you were first. Go ahead.
Yeah, just with the roll up from last year.
Yeah.
I know in Utah we had several outreach activities like Boy Scouts, Girl Scouts. Would that have fallen under pre-college there? Because I don't see any actuals.
So pre-college, we had a budget of $2,000. We spent.
That was PACE money.
That's PACE money.
Isn't that PACE right there?
No. This is pre-college. Yeah.
I thought those were subcategories. Never mind. Sorry.
No.
It's confusing.
Upcar.
So, Tom, you came up with some great ideas in your earlier part of the introduction. Those ideas, right, that you want to implement, do you have those ideas in a line item in terms of covering yourself as a budget line item?
Well, not per. So we got this NIC money for the chapter recording. That was going to be a big one. So that took care of one thing that would have been, like $40,000 or so. So, but the hybrid thing, we're spending $12,000 for this hybrid conference capability. That's why we want to make sure we use this thing. This is the hybrid online conference. So we are spending money for some of these initiatives we're talking about. That's in the budget. Yes.
And then these TED Talks you want to do, that's in the budget?
Oh, I don't have TED Talks in there. No. These are dreams.
If you come up with that idea, you came up with the idea, right?
Yeah.
But then you need a cover for that, right?
Well, there's various little pockets of money for things.
Region Director also has a little.
I have a small purse of discretionary funds.
Everything started.
Yeah.
Something like new initiatives.
Right.
20,000.
6 new initiatives, like your collaborative.
Well, we probably shouldn't spend all our reserves in 1 year. If we can help it. We're constrained. There's a lot of things you'd like to do, but we're constrained what we can do.
We're about 30 minutes behind.
No, we aren't actually, because I realized that this whole section was that talk I just gave. So we're not. So we actually finish up the budget stuff we want, and then do some other things. Yes.
You mean SPAC?
Are you talking about SPAC or?
Yeah, it's all PACE. There's a separate.
We have a whole bunch of student activities things here, okay, but some of the other stuff is PACE money.
Right. And, yeah, PACE is not normally student activities, but if the region doesn't have an SPAC budget, then.
We don't have an SPAC budget. Do we need an SPAC budget?
No. It falls under PACE now.
Okay.
You can use PACE money for it if you want.
Keith helped with this.
What was that, Keith?
We funded four SPAC events.
Out of PACE, yeah. We've been doing it out of PACE.
Right. Because
And-
there's not enough demand for PACE in this one.
And this last year, I think we actually spent our PACE money, which is amazing, because we often don't. Anything else? Any other thoughts? Anyone else want to spend some money on something that we haven't talked about? Yes. Going twice. Go ahead.
Not spending per se, but looking at this budget and comparing it with the Oregon budget I'm more familiar with, there's a lot of money here that you think you may or may not spend.
Yes.
And you end up with a large deficit.
A large apparent deficit, yes.
Large apparent deficit. And not for the here and now, but something that I would be interested to see is probabilities associated with spending those. And when you get down to the end, you have your your worst case budget, your best case budget, and then your most probable budget.
Well, it was the best of times, and it was the worst of times.
This is an average.
But if we were to look at for instance, look at the bottom line last year, our budget was and what we think our final is, right? And so we ended up we ended up actually in our budget we actually took a $48,000 out of reserves to cover what we thought we'd spending more. We actually didn't spend all. We actually didn't spend all the reserves. We have some positive for our budget that would have been $29,000 with that $48,000 reserve. In actuality, we didn't spend nearly as much, and therefore we ended up something like $56,000. So instead of biting into our reserves at all, we actually accumulated a bit more reserves, or effectively accumulated a bit more reserves. But the money's already in our account, so we spend on that. So if we were to project what we're doing this year, we're now at $103,000, by the way. But then I think that would be actually another $50,000 out of our reserves because we still have that $48,000 from last year in there.
So the more we try to spend our reserves, the more they go up.
Yes, go ahead, Doug.
A few days ago, I wrote to you about would there be any support to the sections for sending representatives to the IEEE USA annual meeting. Did you get any response from IEEE USA on that? Or
I think I sent something in, but I'm behind on my email, so I don't know if I caught it.
45% of your PACE allocation can be used to support travel.
So we can do that on PACE funds. We can do it out of PACE funds. So the whole thing about PACE funds is get your applications in early if you can, because they can be used up.
Yeah, that's the point. I mean, we used to be allowed to take about a third of the PACE funding and distribute it to the section.
Let's see if we can vote on this.
Okay.
So I mean, none of our
that assumes that the money. That assumes that the money doesn't get spent on PACE events.
So, anything more?
In November, we're working hard to spend the remaining PACE money.
We really were.
Yeah. And that's how we ended up with, in November, we had $11,000 of unused PACE funds.
Really?
Yes.
I was bugging Keith about it.
And then somebody came in with a $4,000 request, which we supported.
And then we did the Rising Stars thing.
And we used the remainder of it to support Rising Stars.
Right. So we have a hard time spending a lot of this money because volunteers
Do it themselves.
Well, they might do it themselves and pay for it themselves rather than fill out the paperwork, or they're too busy and they thought they could do it and they don't do it.
So in actual fact, probably it hasn't been reported, right? So I know for sure. I don't look at it, but some activities or patients, but have been reported up to the region.
Yeah. So I don't think they're making any progress on this except just talking about what it's like to try to fund PACE. Are there any other requests for money, or are we ready to come to a vote on our budget? I hear seeing nobody who wants to talk more on additional budget items or issues of budget items. May I go ahead?
Well, that's when we're going to vote on it tomorrow.
Well, we're not going to vote on it tomorrow.
I know, now we're going to vote on it today. Did you have an idea, or?
We could defer it.
I don't want to do that. Okay. Is it a lot of money, or what is it? Well, that would be this budget. That's not this budget. No. This is our region money, not foundation. Yeah. We have projects for this section, but that we would spend money out of the region funds to support. That's the thing. And anything like that, we'd also want the section to match it. So the section would, if it's 50,000.
Well, it kind of depends on if she's got an idea or ideas for her section, then you're going to go to the foundation or to the NIC and ask for some funds.
There's going to be other parts of my section.
Go to the region until I heard you saying this. So, okay, I'm seizing the opportunity to know whether you could
still going to accept ideas, or are you approving the budget now and you just need to clear it?
We're trying to vote on the budget now. Are you okay? Okay. If you do want some support on trying to do something to a bigger IEEE to get something done, we'd be glad to do that. Help you with that. Okay. Yeah, Joe.
Last year I went to the regional first robotics.
Yes.
In Sacramento.
Yes.
I was the actually.
Yes.
Is that something that we should be supporting?
It's something.
The first robotics competition.
Let's see. I wasn't at that one. I do. My kids on the team.
Yeah, the regional final was in Sacramento.
Yeah.
And I looked around. I was like, asked around how many actually members. Nobody. I was the only one there.
So first robotics is a different.
Well, that's not a budget thing.
Well,
It's not a budget. It's not a budget thing. We need to be involved in stuff like that, but it's not our budget thing, Joe. We can talk about that this afternoon. Is that okay?
Yeah.
Okay.
I just thought somehow we somehow should have a presence.
We should.
This type of
I believe that.
And
Yeah.
I thought there was somebody there, and I started looking around, and asking people around, and so I was because my daughter's on this.
So I know that
I can tell you
they're.
that's happening with the sections.
They were a major sponsor.
It's happening at
2 years
many
ago.
sections they're having.
IEEE was like a major sponsor with
Where you mean where is it? Where you are? I don't think so. 'Cause I was there. Can I call the question, please? Let's vote on the budget. So, all in favor of this budget? I probably should.
Were there any drastic changes that we need to know for this, or is it?
They're all in the budget sheet. Anyone? So anyone against this budget? Okay. One against. No. Oh, this is a Region 6 budget. So if you're Region 4, sorry. All right. All Region 6 folks in favor of this budget. Raise your hand.
6 officers.
Okay. Anybody from Region 6 who doesn't want this? Okay. All right. It is passed.
Thank you for making it first vote pleasurable.
Because there is one thing.